Hey Kids, this is Wendy Ellis, and Betty and I decided that we would go ahead and try to have some lessons. We're going to post these probably on Tuesday or Wednesdays. Miss Betty's going to have some stories for the younger kids, and mine's more for, second, third, fourth grade. I think Miss Rachel's trying to hook up some Facebook chat or whatever it's called. And Mr. Devin may be getting on and doing something with the boys a little bit later. I hadn't talked to him, but we're doing this from home because we can't have church, so we wanted to bring church to you. So today's lesson is about Jesus wants us to help. Jesus wants us to serve others. And the Bible verse comes from 1 Peter 5:5b, and it says, all of you serve each other in humility. 1 Peter 5:5b. And today's Bible story is called Dusty Feet, and it's from the book of John, chapter 13, verses 1 through 17. The first thing we're going to do is play a little game. It's going to be kind of hard because you're not here to respond, but we're going to look at the board, and you're going to tell me, or we're going to talk about where you think these items go. I'm going to say a job, and you decide if it belongs, if it's a job of the servant or a job of the king. The first one I have is have fancy parties. Who do you think would have fancy parties? The servant or the king? You're right. It is the king is who you would think would have fancy parties. Okay, and the next one is wash dishes. Servant or king? Washing dishes would certainly be the servant. The next thing we have is scrub the toilets. Yuck. Is that the king or is that the servant? Yeah, a king wouldn't be caught scrubbing toilets, probably. The next one we have is make laws. Who makes the laws? Is it the servant or the king? Yes, it's the king. He gets to make laws and have parties. Lead the army. That would be the king also. And the last one we have is wash clothes. Who's going to wash the clothes? It's going to be the servant. Okay, and whenever Jesus was here walking on earth, let's do this. What if we took all of the servant and let him do the king's jobs? He'd probably be happy, wouldn't he? But what if we took the king and gave him stick. And what if we took the king and gave him all of the servants' jobs? Okay, so you think the king is going to want to wash dishes, scrub toilets, and wash clothes? Of course not. That makes no sense, does it? Can you imagine a king scrubbing a toilet? In our story today, we'll hear how Jesus, even though he was the King of Kings, showed us how to be servants. Jesus wants us to serve others, and even said we will be blessed if we serve others. And today's lesson's about dusty feet. And so one of the things that they used to do back in Jesus' day was to serve others, they would wash each other's feet. I have a picture here of me washing feet. I actually had the opportunity to go to Nicaragua, and as part of our mission trip, we wanted to teach that serving was important. So Miss Abby Moore and I got to go to Nicaragua, and we decided that we would wash the women's feet. In Nicaragua, it's much like it was in Jesus' day, and the roads are very dusty, and they wear sandals a lot, so their feet were really dirty. And the picture I'm going to show you right now is of me washing feet, and it wasn't very pleasant. You can tell by the look on my face that I was not very happy, but look at how dirty that water was. It was pretty nasty water. It was a very humbling job, and the ladies appreciated it and loved it. So, have you ever washed anybody's feet? Back in Jesus' time, most people wore sandals. When they would come inside, a servant would take off their sandals, and then somebody would come wash. The people washed each other's feet because the roads were so dusty. This would refresh them and make them feel clean. And today we're going to find out why Jesus did this. Jesus and his friends had gathered for a special meal. Jesus and this is almost the time of the crucifixion, Jesus wanted to show his friends just how much he loved them, because he knew that soon it would be time for him to be crucified. So this is leading up to Easter. This means he knew he was going to die soon. While the food was being served, Jesus got up and wrapped a towel around his waist. Then Jesus began to wash the disciples' feet, drying them with the towel around his waist. Finally, Jesus came to Peter. Peter said, "Lord, you're not going to wash my feet." Jesus replied, do you think he said, "Oh, okay, I won't wash your feet"? No, Jesus replied and said, "You don't understand now what I'm doing, but someday you will." No, Peter protested, "You will never wash my feet." Then Jesus said, "Unless I wash your feet, you won't belong to me." So Peter said, "Then wash my hands and head as well, Lord, not just my feet." Jesus explained that he wanted to wash only Peter's feet, and then that is what he did. Then Jesus sat down and said, "Since I'm your Lord and God and teacher, have washed your feet, you ought to wash each other's feet as well. I've given you an example to follow. Follow this, and you will follow this now that you know these things." And so God gave us a lot of examples in the Bible that we're supposed to go out and do. And washing feet happened to be the example that he taught Peter. And by the way, Peter wrote 1 Peter. He has given us examples now that you know what to do. He expects us to do them. And he says that if we do these things, God will bless you for doing them. Jesus wants us to serve everyone. What did the disciples learn from that day? What do you think the disciples learned? They learned to love each other. They learned to serve each other. And they learned that if they serve each other, they'll be blessed. What do you think Jesus expects us to do as servants? He expects us to serve other people. And how can we do that? Praying, showing love, respect, and just sharing time. So it's hard to think of others first, but nothing is impossible with God. So I encourage you this week to think of others. Find a way to serve others. You may want to do a card, draw a picture, send it to grandma or someone in your life. But Jesus wants us to serve others. And remember, today's memory verse is, all of you serve each other in humility. 1 Peter 5:5b.